This one's called How I Met Your Uncle, Part 2, Episode 3. No, Episode 2, Part 3.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the artists that have been involved with Iron Man. I've collected a variety of things. That helmet sits in the theater room where we just watched Iron Man 3 because Mason hadn't seen it.
Yes. It's kind of the only one you don't actually need to see.
Oh, we'll talk about the movies in a minute. During the history of Iron Man, and really with comics in general, I like characters who are unique, and one of the things that kind of fell off for me a little bit with Iron Man was it got to where whoever wore the armor was Iron Man. And I got to meet somebody who was involved in that. When Salt Lake started having a Comic-Con, which you can't call it Comic-Con because they got sued, it's FanX. One of the first people, the first time I went and met Bob Layton. And Bob Layton was a big influence on Iron Man, and he is really cool. I sat and visited with him for quite a while. We talked about Iron Man. Mason's worried that maybe I'm a little obsessive.
Today on Uncle's Secret Basement Tapes, we figure out the difference between obsession and passion.
Or passionate.
Yeah, shut your dirty mouth, Mason.
Bob Layton is just as passionate as I am. Bob Layton got involved with Iron Man in the late 70s, like 79, and worked on Iron Man into the 80s. And I had noticed a change in Iron Man. The storytelling had changed, the art had changed. And so when I got there, what's interesting about going to Comic-Cons is you don't know what the artists look like. Now we have the internet and you can look them up and see what they look like. Well, when I got there the first time, I didn't know what anybody looked like except Neil Adams, and I don't know where I'd seen his picture. So I went, found Bob Layton's booth, and immediately bought every print and had them signed. Down here at the bottom it says to Morgan, Bob Layton, and this is the classic armor alongside kind of the newer armor. The other thing that this caused, I have this hallway out here, and one of these days we'll show that, and it was just two empty walls. And so I decided if I can get these prints signed by the artists that I really like, here's another one with all the different armors, then I'm going to put them up on that wall and create kind of a little gallery. And the first three I hung up all came from Bob Layton. One of the stories he did or was involved with was in the comics, Dr. Doom had built a time travel platform way back, and Doom and Iron Man got sent back in time and went to Camelot. And I remember that story because they had to work together to time travel back to our time, or their time. It was the first time Tony Stark really talked about the influence of, like, knights in armor and all that stuff. I never really got that vibe until that story. The trilogy, the Camelot trilogy, or the Legacy of Doom, I think there were actually several stories, but that first one was really cool. The art was really cool. Another really key moment in Iron Man's development is called Demon in a Bottle. So I'm sitting there talking to Bob Layton, and we're talking about the movies, and I'm like, "You did the alcoholic thing." And he goes, "Yeah," he said, "I kind of had a hand in that." And I said, it was a really good story. It was really gripping, but I hated it. I liked it. It was so good, but I hated it because you made Tony Stark an alcoholic. And he explained it, and it was fantastic. He said, all those years, Tony Stark is updating his technology, but leaving the shrapnel in his chest. Well, modern medicine, modern science, why would you leave the shrapnel in your chest? So he said, so we took the shrapnel out. But he said, here's the key. Every superhero's got to have a weakness, Everybody knows what Superman's weakness is. Well, Iron Man's weakness was shrapnel in the chest, so when you took it out, he needed a new weakness, alcoholism. So
Why not?
that's why they made Tony Stark an alcoholic, is to give him a weakness. One of the other things he and I talked about was how come the classic armor hasn't made it in the movies, and I don't remember specifically, but I think even he agreed that we hadn't seen the classic armor, which he has drawn a lot, and he liked it. It sounded like as much as I did. Another artist that I got a print of, I can't remember his name.
I can't read his signature.
And I can't read his signature,
Yeah.
but I really liked this print, and it went up on the wall. And then the most recent one I got was Philip Tan. Philip Tan was at a recent Salt Lake Fan X, and I picked up one of his prints. And so I thought that was pretty cool. My obsession, or whatever you want to call it, passion. Passion.
Yeah.
We are very much gamers. Carter has an Xbox. He plays. I see him.
I want to. I have no time.
So
watching
as soon as Iron Man came out on the 360, I got it and played it. As soon as Iron Man 2 came out on the 360, got it and played it. One of my favorites is Ultimate Alliance. And in that game, you can actually unlock the skin that is the classic armor. So I always unlocked that and played it. In Ultimate Alliance 2, I don't remember unlocking the classic skin, but I always play it as either Iron Man or Thor. They're always really good. There's another game called Marvel Heroes Omega. They put it on the Xbox One for a limited time, and then they shut down the company, and I don't know, the licensing went away. But that was a really good Iron Man game too. In addition to reading the comics, watching the movies, collecting the art, getting to talk to the artists. Another artist, I gotta kind of preface this. So, one of the things that the three of us have agreed to is if we're ever telling a story or commenting on something that we haven't verified ourselves, it might not be accurate, but it's a good story, we are going to get out this mug. On this mug, it says allegedly.
Allegedly.
If you've watched Letterkenny, you know exactly what we're talking about. Squirrely Dan talks about this all the time. It's an inside joke. If Letterkenny took place in Wyoming, we would be from there. But anyway, so I'm going to tell a story that I have made no effort to confirm. But the guy who told me, I'm not telling you his name, but I believed him. So allegedly, one of the artists I've visited with did a story for Marvel, and in which Tony Stark revealed to the world that he was Iron Man. When this artist finished the story, Marvel fired him. And so when the movie came out, and here it was, Tony Stark reveals that he's Iron Man, kind of ticked this guy off, and I don't blame him. I don't know if that story's true or not. Allegedly that happened, but it's a good story.
I'd be pretty pissed, actually.
I believe it.
It's like that was like the best part of Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
See,
Well, one of them.
well, and for me, giving up the secret identity is like, no.
I think it makes you more badass because it's just like, to all your super villain people, it's just like, F you.
Yeah, but he got his house blown off the cliff.
In the third movie after he told
Well,
them
he was already a really successful, famous person to begin with, so being a superhero, I don't know, would that have added much to that?
Yeah. Well, and I know it saves, like, his loved ones' lives and stuff, but they're already badasses too, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I like the secret identity thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I did collect a variety of things, and there were a couple things I wish I could have got. Universal Studios in Hollywood had a Marvel Cafe. Outside, they had like a full-sized Hulk. Somewhere I have a picture with that. If I can find it, I'll have Mason put it up. But inside, they had the classic Iron Man armor, a full-sized suit standing in the middle of the cafe. I would have really liked to have had that. We were in Universal Studios Orlando, and they had a full-sized Iron Man suit of more of the modern one, more like the movies. It was $3,000. Can't afford that.
I should just make one. I think I could make one.
I think you ought to whip me one up. Now, we did see Adam Savage on Savage Builds built an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
3D printed with titanium, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was explosion proof. It flew. He didn't manage to fly it, but they got a guy to fly it. So
yeah.
Really?
It could be done.
Picture like 2 massive hair dryers with 4 nozzles apiece.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wonder how they went to the bathroom in it.
Yeah. The immortal question.
And kind of speaking on things that were made. So this stained glass, one of my daughter's friends, I think when they first got in high school in shop, a kid named Houston made that for me. And I thought that was pretty cool. This picture my daughter did for me. She did an Iron Man for me, and I think it turned out pretty good. The kids are definitely aware that I like Iron Man. So
these are all the action figures, by the way. I'll show clips of them right now.
Oh yeah, and I'll get you I have a picture with Bob Layton. I'll get you that so you can.
And then I'll go through those later too. I'll just go through them on the wall.
Okay.
That they're on, and then maybe take some videos of these.
Cool.
Nice of you to show up. I was laughing because I was reading the back of this. Be the first to own an 8-inch ultra posable Aunt May action figure. I want that. Only 10,000 figures will be produced. So don't miss out on the.
Oh god, I bet someone stockpiled them and just has a ton of Aunt May.
All right, Carter, let's get her done.
And I was like, who is this old man on the back of this box?